Hey guys, welcome back to Karting with Chris. Today's video is going to be the Spring 5 race here at North Texas Karters. So right out of the pits we see someone spinning, demonstrating just how cold the track is today. If you haven't already noticed, it is nighttime. This is not a day race, this is a night race. And the track temperature went down drastically as soon as the sun went down. So warming up our tires is going to be very crucial on this warm-up lap to ensure we get a good start to this race. So I'm going to apologize right out of the gate. The video quality of this video is not going to be that great. You can see it's already shaky and we're not even going full speed yet. For those of you who don't know, I lost my other GoPro and it was a little better than this one. This is kind of my backup GoPro, and you can see the stabilization nowhere near as good as my old one. So I plan on getting a new one for the next race, but for the time being you're gonna have to just bear with me. So there are 20 people in this race. This is the 206 senior class. I don't know if I've ever mentioned that. I race in the 206 senior class. But there are 20 people in this class today, which is larger than normal. And that's because there's a TSRS event next week. If you don't know what that is, look it up. I'm not going to explain it. But there's a lot of people here today, more than normal. And for this race, we qualified 11th out of 20. Not my best qualifying. Like I said earlier, once the sun went down, the track got really slippery, and I really did not prepare for qualifying the best I could. So going into this race, I think I've got better pace than 11th, or at least I'm going to try and do better than 11th. Try and work my way through the pack. We are starting on the inside, which is a huge advantage here at NTK. For those of you who didn't see my last video, starting on the outside was basically a death sentence. So starting on the inside, we're sure to gain some positions at the start, and it's going to be a little safer. So going down the straight here, we've got Jeff in front of us in 6:31. He's a pretty quick driver, so we're going to try and follow him. The first two corners are left-handers, so we're going to try and hold it on the inside, have a little bit of an advantage. But you can see everyone just pulls away from me here. I assure you I was full throttle, but it felt like my throttle cable got caught on something. And you can see people started pulling away from me, but Flagman did wave green, so we're good to go. So we did lose a position. We're down into 12th now. Not the worst start in the world. We could have dropped down into last. Going to turn 3 here, we do have someone on our inside, so we do hold it around the outside and prevent the overtake. And then going through the chicane, I backed off a little, didn't want to bang into the back of Drew, push him off track. See, I backed off a little too much, but going through turn 7, there is someone off into the grass on the right there, so we do go up into 11th. Exit of turn 7, we can see Drew has the inside into turns 8 and 9. So we're going to try and follow him, push him through turns 8 and 9. You see we accidentally pushed him a little too much, got him a little sideways. Kind of ruined our momentum. 612 passed us again. And going to turn 1 here, we're actually going to go 3 wide. You can't see it, but we're going 3 wide. So Chris passes us through turn 1. Richard passes us, and then because I was on the outside, I got poor momentum going through turn 1. And so cart 618 has passed us going through turn 2. So going 3 wide through turn 1, not the best idea. If you are going to go 3 wide, you better have the inside, because I had the outside, didn't work out too well for me. So now we're down to 14th. This is not really looking very good for us. 618, I don't know who this is. I think it's an out-of-town person, so I want to get around them as fast as possible. Like I said, I want to do better than 11th, because I think I have the pace to do better than 11th, but right now, it's not looking very good for us. Cart 618 did tap his helmet. He did want me to work together with him. I felt like I was a little faster than him, especially towards the end of the straight. You'll see once he hit his rev limiter, I started to catch up to him again, so I think he's on a different gearing than me, so I can kind of use that to my advantage. So going through turn 3 here, we're right on his bumper, going through the chicane. We're going to be in his slipstream going to turn 7, and you know, in hindsight, I should have went for the move here, but I actually didn't go for the move through turn 7 here. Should have went for it because you can see the next carts in front are right there. And all this guy's doing is he's really just slowing me down. So I need to be a little more aggressive. It is going to be hard for me to catch up to him because coming out of the corners, you can see he pulls away a little. But once he hits his rev limiter, I start to catch up to him towards the end of the straight. So there's really no one behind me, so I really don't have to worry about people from behind catching up to me. So really I'm just on the offensive right now. So I should just be aggressive throughout this entire race. But fortunately, going through the chicane here, he gets too much of that curbing and his chain pops off, bang into the back of him, not knowing his chain fell off. But his chain fell off, and so we move up to 13th. karting gods favoring me going through that chicane. So it turns out if I don't go for a move, they just die of natural causes. But we're in the 13th, like I said. The next kart in front, quite a bit ahead. You saw I did bang into the back of him. That lost a lot of my momentum. It also pushed my bumper in. So now my bumper is just flapping in the wind. It's also rubbing on the ground. You might hear it in the video. So I've got to deal with that. Fortunately, NTK doesn't really have a bumper penalty. So if your bumper does get pushed in, it's not a penalty. You don't really have to worry about it. So that's also good, but at the same time, it is going to start slowing me down. Now, unfortunately, the next kart in front is way in front of me, and it did take me a long time to catch up to them. You see we're on the last lap here. I actually was setting pretty decent lap times compared to the person who got first. I think I was within a tenth of them, so pretty good lap times. But you can see the next kart in front goes off into the grass. That's Chris. Accidentally going wide through turn 2, and so he's going to have really dirty tires. Going down to turn 7 here, not quite close enough to go for the move, but can we get one more pass done before this race is over? Going through turn 7, like I said, he's got dirty tires, goes really wide, and so it's going to be a really easy overtake. We move up into 12th place at the very end of the race, and we're going to finish this pre-final in 12th place. Not the best pre-final in the world. The start definitely could have been way better. Had we have gotten a better start, I think we would have finished much higher in this pre-final. But since this pre-final wasn't the most exciting race in the world, I'm going to add the final to the end of this video. So we're starting the final in 12th place because that's where we finished in the pre-final. And the final is usually 16 laps, but today it was 12 laps because there were some red flag incidents, and so it kind of slowed the race down. So we didn't want to be here till 2 in the morning, so they made the final 12 laps long. So we have less laps to do this race. Starting in 12th, we're on the outside, so if the last race is any indication, this is not the place to be. But also, the last 5 finals I've been in, I have not been able to finish without someone ramming me off track. So that's going to be the main goal for this race, but also we're going to try and gain some position. So going down the straight here, I actually get caught napping as I was not really paying attention to the start of this race. And you can see everyone on the inside just passes me like I'm standing still. And so we lose 3 positions at the start here. You can see my brother in kart 607, wearing the same suit as me, passes me. He has not been in a kart in over a year, so he was a little off the pace, and I knew that. He knew that as well. So I want to try and get around him as quick as possible. I don't think he's going to give too much of a fight because he doesn't want to ruin my race. We're kind of official teammates here, so I'm not going to go for the move through turn 7 here. Tires are a little cold. Don't want to quite send it on my brother like that. But going through turns 8 and 9, you can see he's going to get a little sideways. His kart setup wasn't quite as dialed as mine was. And so going down the straight here, we're going to pass him into turn 1. He kind of points me through. Like I said, he wasn't going to try and fight me too much. I was just running a different race than him. So now we can look ahead. You can see there's quite a bit of a pack up in front, so we're going to try and catch up to those guys and pick them off one by one. So like I said earlier, I felt like I had decent pace, so I think I can catch up to this group in front. Obviously, if they're working together, it's going to be hard to catch up to them, but a train of 4 or 5 is really not going to be as fast as someone by themselves because you just tend to slow each other up. So I'm going to try and catch up to them, but it is going to take a while. You can see the gap is about a second, maybe a little more. And so, especially in 206 racing, the margins can be quite small and it can be hard to catch up to people. So I'm just going to skip ahead to the more exciting portions of this race. So we skip ahead 1 lap. We're still on lap 3, or we just ended lap 3, start of lap 4. So we're not going to catch up to the group in front that quickly, but up ahead we can see Chris going wide of turn 2. He did that in the pre-final as well, and that's a bit unfortunate for him, but fortunate for us as we move up into 13th. You can see we've actually caught up to the next kart in front a fair bit. I think him going off might have slowed down the kart in front, and that kart in front is Jeff. We saw him in the pre-final temporarily. He started right in front of us, so that's going to be the next kart to try and track down. Like I said, I felt like I had decent pace. but it is going to take a while because a tenth, maybe two, a second a lap, especially when the gap's about a second long, it's going to take a while. So like I said, I'm going to skip ahead to the more juicy, more interesting portions of this race. I don't know, whatever adjective you would like to describe this. So we skip ahead to lap 6 now. We're going through turn 3 here. And you see we have caught up to Jeff a little bit. I noticed through turn 3 I would catch up to him a lot. Through turns 8 and 9 he would kind of pull away from me, but overall I think I was a bit faster than him, obviously, since I've caught up to him. Going through turn 7 there, you know, I was really pushing this cart and accidentally going a little too deep on the brakes there. But we have caught up to Jeff now. Not quite within striking range, but a couple karts away from him now. Not going to be able to quite get within that slipstream, maybe towards the end of the straight there. But I've got two options here. I can either work together with Jeff, try and catch up to Kurt in front of him, or just pass Jeff and hopefully he doesn't fight me too much. Now, obviously, I feel like I've got the pace to catch up to Kurt, but I don't want to be in a battle with Jeff. I want to just keep going. So for the time being, I was thinking maybe work together with Jeff. He's a pretty good driver. Every single time he's here, he usually beats me. So he's got really good racecraft. I think today he's just not quite on the pace, but for the time being, we're going to try and work together with him. So coming out of turns 8 and 9 here, we're going to push him down the straight. This is going to allow us to go a little faster down the straight, benefit both of us. And we're going to try and catch up to Kurt. If we do catch up to Kurt, I'm just going to let Jeff do all the passing, and I just follow him. But one thing I noticed at this point of the lap is that maybe I was fast enough to pull away from Jeff. I did catch up to him pretty quickly, and so coming out of the chicane here, I'm just going to decide not to work together with him. I get a pretty decent run. Going into turn 7 here, I'm just going to send it late on the brakes, hug the apex here. And fortunately, he doesn't fight it too much, and so now we're up into 12th place. So the next kart in front is Kurt. We're about to end lap 9, or lap 8, start lap 9. So we have about 3 or 4 laps left in this race. The gap is about a second, so ideally I need to be taking about 2 to 3 tenths a lap off of Kurt in order to try and catch up to him near the end of the race. So it's going to be hard. Like I said, lap times are very similar compared to everyone else, but it's definitely manageable. So I'm just going to try and put my head down and catch up to Kurt. So we skip ahead to lap 11. There are only 2 laps left in this race, and usually around this point in the race, people tend to start going defensive and tend to start going for moves. I don't have to worry about anyone from behind. I did pull away from Jeff from behind, so I don't really have to go defensive, but I'm not quite close enough to go for the moves on Kurt. That would be one hell of a dive bomb. But looking in front of Kurt, there are 2 Tony karts just absolutely going at it, and so they are really going to slow down not only themselves but Kurt. So we have one more lap left in this race. There's going to be 3 positions on offer here. Kurt not getting the best run out of turns 8 and 9 here. Not going to be close enough into turn 1, but hopefully by the end of this lap we're going to be able to at least gain some sort of position. But again, not quite close enough to go for the move through turn 2, although he does go a little wide of the apex because the Tony karts are fighting each other. Could have gone for the move there through turn 3, but thought better of it. The chicane is kind of single file, so it would be really risky to go for a move there. Through turn 7, that's a really good passing spot. He does go defensive, so I try and hold him as narrow as possible, try and get a better exit than him. And unfortunately, I should have went for the move through turn 8 and 9 there. It was open, but I just, for some reason, was a little hesitant. And since that was the last lap, I did finish in 12th place. So unfortunately, I could have had a position there. Had I been more aggressive, I definitely could have had a position there. So kind of beating myself up for that. Also, if this race would have been just 4 laps longer, 16 laps like it normally is, I could have also probably gained 3 positions. Who knows, but not the best race in the world. Finishing 12th, I did qualify 11th. Not my best race, but that's all I'm going to have for today. If you liked the video, please consider subscribing. If you have any questions, suggestions, or opinions, please do comment below. Thank you guys for watching, and have a good day.